Welcome back. I hope you're doing great. As a part of this video, we'll understand DQL commands. What exactly is a DQL? DQL is data query language. This is one of the SQL types, as we have already understood other SQL types like DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. DQL is also one of the SQL types. But why do we really need DQL when you have DML, DDL, DCL, TCL? Data query language is required to perform the queries on the data within the schema object. As we have already indicated earlier, when we have a data in a table, do we just store the data? No, we want to retrieve and use the data, right? So by using data query language, we access the data within the schema object. What do you mean by schema object? Any object which has a schema. What does it mean? For example, here we have a table. This is one of the database objects. Does it have a schema? Yes, it does, because we are specifying the columns and what are the column types and all other aspects. So main purpose of the DQL is to get some schema relation based on the query passed to it. Other way of saying, performing queries on the data or running queries on the data within the schema objects. So we understood we need a DQL to perform the queries, to run the queries on the data within the schema objects. But how do you run the query? How do you perform the queries? We do that by using a select statement. You will be using extensively across the different RDBMSs. So select statement is used to perform the queries or run the queries. Either we use a select statement to select or retrieve the data from a database. What exactly is the syntax of a select statement? Very simple. All you have to do is say select. As you say, we are talking about a select statement. We can choose the columns which we want to retrieve, and we have to specify the table name. When you are trying to choose few columns, you can use the syntax, or if you want to choose all the columns, you can use the syntax. Isn't it? Syntax is very simple. Yes, it is. You may be wondering, there may be various ways of retrieving the data from a table in a database, right? Yes, they are. Let us look at what are the different ways. We do have different ways, like we can retrieve or select all the columns and all the rows from any database object. We can retrieve all columns and specific rows from a table. We can retrieve specific columns and all rows from a table. We can retrieve specific columns and specific rows from a table. Maybe by providing conditions. All these may happen as a part of the one table. You can also combine all these things as a part of two or more tables as well. Let us look at few of them as a part of this lecture. How do you select all the columns and all the rows? Let us consider this employee table with this data. We have employee ID, employee name, age, location, and salary as the attributes. Within this, there are 5 records, and if you clearly observe, these are the names of the singers: Alisha, Sunidhi, Shan, Falguni, Shreya. Of course, Indian singers. Now, in this, we have 5 records with different values. Okay. Now, let us see various ways of selecting columns and rows on this table. First and foremost thing is, how do you select all columns and all rows? Very simple. All you got to do is select star from employee. Employee is a table. Star indicates get me all the columns and all the rows. What is the result? This is the result. Then if you want to select all the columns and specific rows, how do you do it? Very simple. Here you can say select star from employee and limit the number of rows to 3. You can also use various other conditions by using a where class, but we are showing one of these cases. When you say select star from employee limit to 3, it will fetches only 3 records out of 5 records from a table. How do you choose specific columns and all rows? Very simple. If you want to choose a specific columns, you got to indicate those columns as a part of your select statement. Then it will choose only those two columns and all the 5 records. You can see only employee name and age is selected from a table containing 5 attributes. Then how do you choose specific columns and specific rows? All you got to do is indicate the columns which you want and also specify the condition which will filter and provide you how many records need to be part of your result. Awesome. We understood what is DQL and importance of select in DQL. And we also understood various ways of retrieving the columns and rows from a table. Thank you.